take a seat. Let's take a seat that you're comfortable, that your body alignment is more elongated and open, and your chest and the space of the heart is elevated, and that you are in that present moment. You're not coming from finding something that troubling you in the past to make it into the future. How could I make it more into the future without suffering? You're not having any motive at this moment. You just take a deep breath. You allow your shoulders to roll back, open up and elevate the space of the heart. And very gently connecting into that breath, which is kind of a triangle, where it is very gently become the equilibrium into a space of the mind and the body and the spirit. And I will gently move the camera towards Darren. So it's not Channa or Darren or Sylvia or anyone coming to do yoga. It is really coming home, and you can't come home with all those titles, habits. Very gently, the breath exists. Everything else in this present moment exists, but it doesn't need your interpretation. It doesn't need to fill up any blanks. If the blank is there, just allow it to be there. And when your mind is trying to get caught up in it, don't change into another thought. Just observe that part of the mind which is not yours because you're observing that struggle. And when you start observing, it changes by itself. Or you are not manipulated by the tool of the mind. Now, very gently, take a deep breath in, shoulders roll back, opening up that chest, elevate the heart. Very gently, arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up, drop the hips, and take this opportunity to reflect more deeply on this very moment, where it is, the body, the breath, the mind. When gently take a deep breath out, spread the wings wider and twisting the spine to the left side. Very gently opening up that place relation to this particular moment. Breathing in back to the center. Change the leg formation. Loosen up the knees, loosen up the hips. Arms very gently raised back into the crown. Interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Very gently, after taking that deep breath into the elongation of the spine, stabilizing the shoulder blades. Twisting the spine to the right side. Opening up on the out breath. Very gently, keeping that momentum that you have come into, re-entered into a space that you don't have to talk about. Breathing in back to the center. Shoulders relax and chest open. Now very gently stretch the neck to the right. Very gently. Keep that left shoulder open, left shoulder roll back. Very gently giving that enough time to release that felt pressure. Release that grumble part of the body. Breathing in back to the center. Shoulders relax and just open. The practice is psychosomatic. Whatever the thoughts, the body is taking the shape of that, and try to be familiar with your thought, which is not necessarily the best version to the body. But in the practice, we are giving you hints, so gently you can give up on holding the hostage of the past. Breathing in back to the center. Very gently stretch the neck into the other side. Same. Right shoulder roll back. There is no real effort required here. So you can very gently release the mind, which is made up, and you're embarking on this present moment. Breathing in very gently, coming to the center, shoulders relax, just open. Palms onto the pranam position. Very gently, by gentle pressure to a palm, you allow that rib cage to be open. You allow that space to be gentle. And if you want to take a deep breath, and you can very gently release a gentle om with your own practice, so that you are more tuned and fulfilled with this present moment. And you're enjoying doing it, so your mind is silent. Now take a deep breath in. Shoulders roll back. Take that deep breath. Breathe out gently with the om. You can see very gently you're transforming things that you came, whether it's a frustration, whether it's an agitation, whether it's an insecurity. Nothing to do with you, but with the mind. All those logical choices that you're suffering with. Now very gently relax those palms on top of the knees, and very gently breathe out, and very gently coming into a place of a sitting cat. Very gently, you're giving the support of observation, so the mind and the body changes very gently. Very gently, it is bringing ease. Breathing in, shoulders roll back, opening up the chest, lift up the space of the heart, stretch the throat, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Now you are sitting on the transition of the changes. When you're not open to the present moment, you're nagging. The recurrent of the guilt is born, frustration born, not enough is born. Now breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Into a gentle sitting cat. Breathing in very gently, you're coming back into the center, shoulders relaxed. Just a gentle elongation, just a gentle reminder of the delight in this very moment. Very gently, you're allowing the moment to flood into this space, flood into the space of home. When it is flooding into the moment, struggle is easily become the backdrop. Now take a deep breath in, very gently. Bringing that left leg into the back, keep that right hip on the pigeon pose. If you're back of the mat, very gently moving into the front of the mat. Very gently releasing the tension of the expectation, what was the body long time ago, and not forcing the body into that space, but very gently understanding and the realization of this very moment. So you have come home. There is no discord. Take a deep breath in, shoulders roll back, opening up that chest, lift up the space of the heart. So very gently releasing that struggle where the thought has taken control of the body. And breath out, drop the elbows, walk those palms into the front, head down, neck down, totally relax. Now you can very gently take a deep breath in, palms very gently facing up, shoulders relax a little bit more. And very gently coming into that space that no longer the struggle is connected from the mind and the body. Breathing in very gently, palms facing down, coming back, shoulders relax and just open. Very gently stabilize the hips. So some of you have rolled onto the right hip more. So bringing back the left hip into the alignment. Keep that space of the extension, the vertical and the horizontal openness that is happening in this very moment, in this body that you have come to observe from, in this mind. Very gently into a plank. Now, if there is no tightness on the wrist, just holding the posture for a gentle while and very gently bringing that left knee onto the floor. Left knee onto the floor and very gently right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Now clench and unclench and see whether there is any level of energy that is stuck. So you're going to give a clench and unclench to the finger. And very gently you're trying to achieve that space of flow. Right, very gently reaching into the back and very gently touch the floor. Now drop both knees onto the floor. A gentle breathe out to a gentle space of the cat and releasing that the mind restrictions binding you to that old patterns in the spine, and notice too those transformation also happening, that the mind set you free. In a gentle breath, drop the belly, opening up, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. That in random moment, the control is not there. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Now you have come into the understanding what is real realization and what is real contentment is the portal of the home in that very moment without control. Now a neutral spine, give a good rotation to the hips, wider rotation. Give that intelligence of the digestion to play a very active role so that whatever has come into your life, whether it's the food, whether it's the thought, that you have a greater level to digest it. Whatever bloats the belly will bloat the mind. They have such a good connection. Now on to the other side. Wider rotation. Giving that energy to activate the Jataragni, the heat in the belly. So there is no dampness in the spleen, pancreas, the liver. So the whole ecosystem is more deeply into what is happening. Now the mind works as a server for you. Stretch the spine into the back, palms facing up. Even you can have that knees wide apart. Now that you have slowed down into the present moment, now it's a very good time, as I said in the start of the class, to investigate. Investigate. Not coming from a place of judgment, guilt. Specific areas of your life, if it is struggling, it is not flowing. If it is overwhelming, this is the moment that you can very gently slow down those habits that you no longer want it to be your permanent place of running, consciously or unconsciously. Palms very gently facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Do it very gently, because that gentleness, it gives you more function to the body, function to the breath, and efficiency into the practice. Now very gently roll the hips onto the floor side to side, very gently. Very gently, I want you to take those beliefs that is limiting you in that space of the spine, space, and you're walking every day in those beliefs that are limiting you. And this practice coming home is you're setting yourself free from those tight, narrow blocks. Elbows onto the floor, breathing in into a gentle cobra. Now allow this cobra very gently just to be in the place of equilibrium. It doesn't have to fill up the moment. It doesn't have to live into a perception. It is open to the change. Overlooking into the left side. Take that deep breath. Back to the center. Onto the right side. There is an openness if you observe the body, but that openness is coming quite effortlessly. Now, if something is repetitively happening more often into your life, then this is the time to observe. Back to the center. Very gently allowing that third eye to relax onto the floor or to the hands. And very gently give that space of the armpits to be more flowing easily, quite effortlessly. Observe the reflection of the state of the mind. Now, very gently, this observation is very much free from perception, free from conditioning, free from doubt. Breathing in back to the center. And very gently, palms where the elbows are, breathing in into up face. Very gently use this posture. Now, even on the up face, if you have the energy, overlook into the left side. So you can really bring the right shoulder into the front, a little bit left shoulder roll back. That's it, back to the center, onto the other side. Bring the right shoulder back a little bit, breathing it back to the center. Now, if this is tiring to you, drop the knees and stretch the spine. Palms facing up. Very gently remember the practice today. Embracing the gift of this very moment. People think when the silence is there, there is no. But there is silence, there is a conversation. But it necessarily doesn't come from the mind. And now, because you're interested, you're feeling more connected. When you're feeling more connected, when it is no force, you're relaxed and you're calm. Now, to make a decision, it is easy because you are not shouting. There is no aggression. Now, if you need to make a commitment to something, it's easy. Now, whatever you do at this very moment turn out to be good, positive for you. Now, very gently, palms facing down, take a couple of deep breaths and moving into the out breath, into the down face dog. More deeply enter into the state of the pose, maintaining the silence of the pose, not the aggression and the noise of the pose. More that you're taking the practice and guidance to return to your natural state of that place of balance, equilibrium. The more balanced you are, more you have come home to your own inner state of the wisdom, innate state of the practice. Now you're bending one knee at a time. If you feel like you cannot open those shins, the calves, hamstrings, and maintaining that regular observation of where the body needs naturally flow, body needs naturally emerge into the space of the spirit. Now very gently, reflect into the front, into the place of the pigeon pose. Shoulders roll back, elongate in the back, elongate in the flow. Chest open, elevate that space of the heart. It's very important. You will be more open to receive that kindness into yourself. Receive that gentle love into yourself. Receive that giving into joyful way into the practice. So everything comes into your life is not a hindrance in you. Shoulders roll back, lift up the space of the heart. Very gently on the out breath, drop the elbows, walk those arms, releasing the tension. So now it's not about doubting whether I was doing Ashtanga or I was doing Iyengar, I was doing Vinyasa, I was doing Power Yoga. Now you are deeper into the practice, but the benefit of that is bringing out much more because you are resting in the home all the time. So when you go from work, when you go from all those discussions, had a bad day, you go home. And when you rest, you can deal with it because it brings the best in you. Now imagine this home is in every moment, not on a physical level. Palms facing up, shoulders relax. Very gently, your realization has to have changes into the body. Changes should be into the breath. At that very moment, nothing short of a miracle, nothing short of a spectacular, nothing short of a celebration. Palms facing down very gently. Coming back, lift up the chest. Shoulders roll back. Stabilize your right hip now into a plank. Strong on the pelvic flow. Engage the energy, not just putting the weight on the wrist or the toes. Right knee onto the floor. Now very gently, not tilting the hips so much. Try to get those toes stretched also in the back left. Left arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench. Left reaching into the back, touch the floor. Very gently drop the knees. Now align the knees with the hip alignment. Align the wrist with the shoulder. Now take a deep breath in, drop the belly and look up to the ceiling, tongue roll up and stretch that tongue. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Breathing in, very gently releasing that all mind patterns, all body pains, all conditioning, old beliefs, all ingrained habits. It only can be changed in the present moment. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Neutral spine. Now very gently left arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. So very gently open up. Try to stabilize the hip. Left reaching into the back, under the armpit. Very gently drop that shoulder blade and stretch that right arm the way you can. Some people actually love to stretch the right arm and bring into the sacrum. So whatever it is for you to bring that change into the body, keeping it in the present moment, grounding into the place of home, grounding into that space of the intelligence, grounding into that place of understanding, how that mind works if it is not being observed. It runs you. How does that mind work? Now, if you believe in those so much and you're very strong on your beliefs, then your thoughts will run you and your thoughts will come into your actions according to your beliefs. But it's okay to have beliefs, but if it is no longer serving the purpose, it is no longer has taken, not giving you that space of harmony, then this is a time for you to come into your own realization about it. I'm not giving answers, I am allowing you to come into your comfortable satisfaction, to feel comfortable. Now very gently take a deep breath in and coming back into that space. You're coming into the realized version of yourself. Maybe that time the breath did help you to release something, maybe move the hips, coming into that sense of keeping that openness for things to really move, flow. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Breathing in into a gentle calm. Breathe out, a gentle space of a cat. Neutral spine, right arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. Try to get that extension more on the torso, more on the upper body, right reaching under the armpit. Very gently finding a place of comfort. Very gently allowing that breath, allowing that body. And very gently observing that all habitual patterns and all voice in the body that has this limiting sense of I don't have enough. Always this is happening to me. Just observe. You don't have to change it. I mean, of course, you can positively change things, but openness is the biggest change. So that part, even as an inner child, what was life for you as a child? The space of security, space of love. And just observe whether these old patterns have created from an opposite direction for that. And your beliefs have come from that, a reflection of your place of as a child. Very gently take a deep breath in and very gently coming and very gently breathing out into the space of a cat. Very gently, very gently, very gently, very gently. Breathing in very gently, drop the belly, opening up the chest, tongue roll up onto the upper palate. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Neutral spine, very gently rotate the hips on a circular motion, wider rotation. So you're releasing that narrowness of the body and coming into a more wider version of that space where the light, where the healing can travel. Wider rotation onto the other side. A wider range of the sight that is happening. wider a level of space of experience in the sound. Very gently stretch the spine into the back palm facing up. Now there is a wider range of feeling, the taste, the smell, the touch. Because you have come home, you're very secure, you no longer are protecting yourself. So there is an intuitiveness in this practice as become into that space. And you have more possessed by that. Now take a deep breath in, palms facing down, onto the knees, and completely breathe out into a gentle space of the down face dog. Try not to make the posture heavy. Try not to make the posture too narrow to force things. Slightly wider. Now take a deep breath in and left leg up into the back. Left knee onto the chest, breathe out. Breathing in, stretch back. Left knee onto the left elbow, breathe out. Breathing in, stretch back. Left knee onto the right elbow, breathe out. Stretch back. Take a deep breath in and left foot into the front. Now, first thing you have to observe that the foot is not clinging. You don't have a perception. Now, very gently soften the body because you want the body to open. And if you close the body to clinging, things doesn't flow. There's inaccuracy in the practice, inaccuracy in the energy. Arms stretching to the back. Interlacing the fingers, palms facing up, just to release that shoulder blade in a physical sense. Arms raised onto the ground. Interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Shoulders relax. Relax into that knee, not putting the weight onto that knee. Very gently allowing the body to open into a place of no longer anything is holding you. Anything is not compensating its normal doing to something else. You have to come to the truth of the practice. And very gently opening up the space, sitting deeper into the Virabhadrasana onto the right side. Now take a very gentle mudra on the left. Very gently, mind doesn't have to be in the space of clarity. Your observation should be that space. Now very gently sitting into this space of understanding. Now there is a polarity whether you want to hold on to the limitation of the body or to open to the intelligence of the space. Is it just sitting into the right and running away from the wrong, or you have the capacity to develop something much more? Now very gently arch backwards, very gently, and very gently allow that openness of the breathing. Very gently allowing the body and the breath to release that any distress, whether it's in the body, whether it's in the mind. Back to the center, elbow onto the knee. Very gently right arm holding onto the hip and get that elbow pointing into the ceiling, right reaching up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench. Breathe, right, reaching into the front without not dropping the head and the neck. So there is extension in the spine, extension in the arm, extension in the back leg. There is no even knee slightly bent so that relationship doesn't turn into force with the body or with the mind. And there is a realization into the space, not the problem to overprotect it, right? Reaching into the back or into the front to touch the floor. Now we'll do a Paravita pose because your left arm reaching up to the ceiling. So this is a great way to funnel the breath. Allow that breath to move through that funneling, deepening to release those barriers that restricting as bloating, as imbalances of the vata, and breaking down those energies so that they can very gently move into the flow of energy. Lift reaching into the back and touch the floor. And very gently drop the back knee onto the floor, holding onto the front knee. Take that deep breath in and lunge forward a few times to see whether you can extend that body, whether then relax that muscle. Now very gently take a deep breath in. Arms stretch onto the sides. And Garudasana right on the top. Very gently landing your finger on the third eye. And allow that large openness come into the forehead. Large openness of love. Just not to the family and the friend, but to the universe. Not just confined into one thing, but into this whole space. And allowing this body to have more windows, more ventilation, more space of heart. Now very gently stroke the third eye to the crown and open up and touch the floor. As a release, as a letting go, as a maturity. Plank. Strong on the pelvic floor. Drop the knees, stretch the spine into the back, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Drop the belly, soften the hips. Very gently shaking the body into the gravity of the earth. Very gently. That deeply held beliefs of unworthiness, of love, that has moved into the sabotage of this kind of relationship that you have with food, have with people, have with family. Very gently into an up face. Releasing that very gently. Floating above it. Breathe out towards the down face. Now very gently, I always say that poses are there, but very gently observe the mind that you're not forcing the pose. You're there to take the essence of the pose, energy of the pose. Take that deep breath in, right leg up into the back. Rotation to the right foot. Right knee to the right chest, breathe out. Breathing in, stretch back. Right knee onto the right elbow, breathe out. Breathing in, stretch back. Right knee to the left elbow, breathe out. Breathing in, stretch back. Right foot into the front, arms stretching to the back, interlacing the fingers, very gently finding that support to the body, raising the vibration of the body by not restricting. Use the practice to contribute to the space of the community of this body, community of this mind, community of this spirit. Arms raised onto the ground. Interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Soften that foot, that clinging into the flow. Very gently take that relaxancy out of the body. Now very gently opening up onto the Virabhadrasana onto the left side. Taking a gentle mudra. Of this awakening, of this yours, moving from the space of home. Gentle arch. Breathe. Back to the center. Elbow onto the knee. Keep the posture softened. Try to release that posture depending on a knee or depending on a foot. Just holding onto the back and give that alignment and left shoulder roll back so that the energy of the experience is developed very gently. So we can release the body that holding onto that pessimistic view. Stretch up to the ceiling, paying attention what has reminded you today, whether it's a belief, whether it's truly owning your space of the truth. Stretch into the front, onto the floor. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench. This is a good time to breathe into the body. Rib cage is acting as a funnel. Very gently creating that magical moment in the digestion. Magical moment of recovery. Right reaching into the back touch. Drop the back knee onto the floor, holding onto the front knee. Lunge forward a few times and back, just to release that holding patterns with dealing with insecurity, dealing with fear, dealing with not having enough. Just taking the moment of this situation, finding the heart of this moment. At that very moment, it is a portal for hope, the inner peace. It is also very gently, if you can hold the space, it's a physical recovery. Arms stretch onto the side. Taking the Garudasana left on the top. Very gently keep that thumb onto the third eye. Now, very gently, today is a time that you can release certain perceptions that has affected your state of happiness, moods, what you have taken to be real, stored in that unconscious realm, of the brain as a memory. So if there's memories are coming up as a feeling of taste, as a feeling of a sound, as you don't have to involve in them. You can evolve from them with a lesser degree. Today, whatever you're going through, stroke the head into the third eye, into the crown, spread the wings wider and touch the floor. Into a plank. Drop the knees. Stretch the spine into the back. Coming into that space of a child pose. If your forehead is lifting and cannot get back to the floor, you can always support it by a blanket or a block. And this is the time that you can take a moment from the safety of the home, unconditional love from that space of the home that you are coming into. Release those dramatic, strong emotions that are holding you, not allowing you to grow, not allowing you to feel the movement, not allowing you to become into that space of creativity. Whatever that life is going to bring, that has created that limited beliefs. Now today would be a great place that when you come into this deep-seated of the truth, you can release of a belief or a perception that you're reacting into certain things unconsciously. So whatever that image is, when something is get triggered, I'm very gently observing it from a place of understanding, place of warmth. When it happens to you, wake up the spine very gently, one vertebra at a time. Shoulders relax and chest open. Now very gently lift up onto the knees, very gently without affecting the knees. Now elongate the back, lift up the space of the heart, right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Keep that kidneys more buoyant, reaching into the hip. Left arm reaching up, reaching into the hip. And if this is the place of your Uttanasana, then this is it. If you want to lift up the toes and reach your arms onto the heels and push the hips forward, create the space, that's up to you. Using a block, losing a bolster, and give that energy of this posture. Come to the heart of the posture. Now support the lower back. Come into the heart of the posture to see how it works, not the mind of the posture, not the technique of the posture. Back to the child pose. Now very gently waking up that spine. And the breath, the moment is enforcing a greater understanding than what it was before, a deeper clarity, a more patience with what to do, what works, what is least resistance. When you come into that realization, coming into a seated posture, shoulders relaxed, and allow your chest to be open. Now, very gently, take that moment where you are letting go of any attachment to anything. When you become personal with your attachments, it is the root cause of all suffering. You want things this way, that way. You identify with your body, attachment, the image to the body, attachment, and cause suffering because it's changing. You have attachment to specific people or their way of behaving, suffering. You have attachment to your career, suffering. Material goods. The worst part when you have attachments to your thoughts and feelings that only create a fixed view of how things are. Most of the suffering comes how things should be. So this is a moment very gently in this place of without a technique coming into the practice, without a technique observing the mind attachments and its expectations of people, and then it sees a way of the mind suffers. At this very moment, you're releasing the tension of attachment, how something should turn out. Maybe today is you're releasing the attachment to, I'm attached to being right. I'm so attached to being right, so I'm rather happy to suffer. When you come into that place, very gently raising the vibration of the arms into the crown, palms into the namaskar position in that self-realization. In this very moment, in this very moment of space, in this very moment, the connection. You have become love, and you have simply are. In that space of love, you have come into the better version to serve from that space of love. Touch the earth, respect for the Mother Earth, biological forms and matriarch forms that we have manifested, whether it's a body, whether it's a space of a material, whatever in harmony in its manifestation. Gently coming out of that physical form of manifestation back into the space of the space where all things move, and that you are observing from not a material to material, but from a space. Namaste.